The words that came out of 6-year-old Maya's mouth made every parent in the grocery store parking lot stop and stare. Please, mister. Please be my daddy for Daddy-Daughter Day. I promise I'll be really good. The little girl had broken free from her mother's grip and was now tugging on the sleeve of a tall man in an expensive suit, her voice carrying across the entire lot with the kind of volume only desperate children possess. Sophia felt her face burn with embarrassment as she rushed to pull her daughter away. Maya, no. We talked about this. She grabbed her daughter's hand, trying to ignore the shocked faces of other shoppers who had stopped their conversations to witness this mortifying scene. The man Maya had approached looked just as stunned as everyone else, his dark eyes wide with surprise. But Mama, you said all the other kids have daddies for the special day at school. Maya's voice rose even higher, tears starting to stream down her cheeks. I don't want to be the only one without a daddy again. The parking lot felt like it was closing in on Sophia. She could hear the whispers starting, could feel the judgment radiating from the other parents. This was exactly what she had feared would happen when Maya's teacher announced the annual daddy-daughter dance at school. She had tried to explain to Maya that sometimes families look different, that it would just be the two of them, but her daughter had become fixated on finding a daddy for a day. I'm so sorry, Sophia said to the stranger, her voice barely above a whisper. She was afraid to look directly at him, knowing she would see either pity or disgust in his eyes. She doesn't understand. We'll just go. But as she tried to guide Maya toward their old, dented car, her daughter planted her feet firmly on the asphalt. No. I want a daddy like everyone else. Maya's sobs grew louder, drawing even more attention. Please, mister. You look nice. You could be my daddy for just one day. Sophia wanted to disappear. She had worked so hard to build a stable life for Maya after her ex-boyfriend had abandoned them when Maya was just 2 years old. She had taken every extra shift at the diner, saved every penny, and tried to be both mother and father to her daughter. But moments like this reminded her of what she couldn't give Maya, no matter how hard she tried. The man Maya had approached was clearly wealthy. His suit probably cost more than Sophia made in 3 months, and his watch caught the afternoon sunlight in a way that suggested real gold. He was exactly the kind of person who would want nothing to do with a struggling single mother and her overly emotional child. Maya, please, Sophia tried again, her own voice starting to crack with the stress of the situation. We need to go home now. I don't want to go home. Maya wailed. I want a daddy. The parking lot had become completely silent except for Maya's crying. Sophia could feel dozens of eyes on them, could practically hear people pulling out their phones to record this disaster. She had never felt more alone or more like a failure as a mother. Then something unexpected happened. The stranger knelt down to Maya's eye level, his expensive suit touching the dirty asphalt without any concern. When he spoke, his voice was gentle and kind, nothing like what Sophia had expected. Hey there, little one, he said softly. What's your name? Maya sniffled and wiped her nose on her sleeve. Maya. Maya Rose Johnson. That's a beautiful name, Maya Rose. The man smiled, and Sophia was surprised to see that it reached his eyes. I'm Nicholas. Can you tell me about this Daddy-Daughter Day? Sophia watched in amazement as her daughter's tears began to slow. Maya always responded well to adults who took her seriously, but strangers usually just wanted to get away from crying children as quickly as possible. It's at my school, Maya explained, her voice still shaky but no longer screaming. All the kids bring their daddies and we dance and eat cookies and take pictures. But I don't have a daddy, and Mama works really hard, but she can't be a daddy too. Nicholas nodded seriously as if Maya had just explained something very important. That does sound like a special day. When is it happening? This Saturday at 2 o'clock, Maya said hopefully. Mama said maybe I could bring my Uncle Tony, but he lives far away and he's really busy with his own kids. Sophia finally found her voice. Sir, I'm really sorry about this. She's been upset about the event all week, and I guess seeing you in your nice clothes made her think. She trailed off, not sure how to finish that sentence without making things worse. Nicholas stood up and looked at Sophia directly for the first time. She was surprised by how kind his eyes were, dark brown and full of something she couldn't quite identify. It wasn't pity, which she had expected. It was something deeper, sadder maybe. Is it just the two of you? He asked quietly. Sophia lifted her chin, ready to defend their small family. Yes, and we do just fine on our own. Maya just gets ideas sometimes about what she thinks she needs. I wasn't judging, Nicholas said quickly. I was just wondering, would it be completely crazy if I actually went with her? The parking lot seemed to spin around Sophia. What? To the daddy-daughter dance? Nicholas clarified. I mean, if you're comfortable with it. I know it's a strange request from a complete stranger. Maya gasped and looked between Nicholas and her mother with huge, hopeful eyes. Really? You would really come with me? Sophia felt like she was in some kind of alternate reality. I don't understand. Why would you want to do that? Nicholas was quiet for a moment, and Sophia saw something flash across his face that looked like old pain. Let's just say I understand what it feels like to wish things were different. And your daughter seems like a pretty special kid. She is, Sophia said automatically, then felt stupid for stating the obvious. So what do you say? Nicholas asked. I promise I'm not a creep or anything. I can give you references, background check, whatever you need to feel safe. I'd like to help if I can. Maya was practically vibrating with excitement. Please, Mama. Please say yes. Sophia looked around the parking lot and realized that most people had gone back to their own business, the initial drama having passed. But she was left with an impossible decision. Let a complete stranger take her daughter to a school dance, or disappoint Maya yet again. I don't even know your last name, she said weakly. Stevens. Nicholas Stevens. He pulled out a business card from his jacket pocket. This has my information. You can call me tonight if you decide it's okay. The dance isn't until Saturday, so you have time to think about it. Sophia took the card with shaking hands. It was thick, expensive paper with simple black lettering. It didn't say much, just his name and a phone number. And Maya, Nicholas said, turning back to the little girl. If your mom says it's okay, I promise to be the best pretend daddy for a day that I can be. Maya threw her arms around Nicholas's legs, not caring that his suit was expensive or that they had just met. Thank you. Thank you so much. Nicholas looked surprised by the hug but patted Maya's back gently. When he looked up at Sophia, she saw that same flash of old sadness in his eyes. Think about it, he said quietly. No pressure. But if you decide to trust me, I won't let either of you down. As Nicholas walked away toward a sleek black car that probably cost more than Sophia's annual rent, Maya bounced beside her mother with pure joy. Mama, he's perfect. He's really nice and he has kind eyes and he listened to me. Sophia watched Nicholas drive away, still holding his business card. She had no idea what she had just gotten herself into, but seeing Maya this happy for the first time in weeks made her think that maybe, just maybe, she should take the chance. We'll see, baby, she said, tucking the card into her purse. We'll see. The phone rang 3 times before Nicholas answered, and Sophia almost hung up twice before he picked up. Hello. Hi. This is Sophia. From the grocery store yesterday? Maya's mom? Sophia. I was hoping you'd call. Nicholas's voice was warm and genuinely pleased. How are you feeling about Saturday? Sophia paced around her small apartment, stepping over Maya's toys scattered across the living room floor. Honestly? Terrified. I don't make a habit of letting strangers spend time with my daughter. I completely understand. What can I do to make you feel more comfortable? The question caught Sophia off guard. Most people would have been offended by her bluntness, but Nicholas seemed to genuinely want to ease her concerns. I guess. I need to know more about you. Like, what do you do for work? Do you have kids? Why would you want to spend your Saturday at an elementary school dance? Nicholas was quiet for a moment. Those are all fair questions. I work in business consulting. I don't have children of my own. And as for why? He paused again. Let's just say your daughter reminded me of someone very special to me. Someone you lost? Sophia asked softly, picking up on the sadness in his voice. Yeah. Someone I lost. They were both quiet for a moment. Sophia found herself wanting to know more, but she didn't want to push. She understood loss, understood the kind of pain that made people's voices change when they talked about certain subjects. Look, Nicholas continued, why don't we meet somewhere public before Saturday? You and Maya could have lunch with me and you can decide if you trust me enough for the dance. If you don't feel comfortable, no hard feelings. You do that. Of course. Maya's safety is the most important thing here. Sophia felt some of the tension leave her shoulders. A man with bad intentions wouldn't suggest meeting in public first, wouldn't be so understanding about her concerns. There's a park near downtown with a little cafe, she said. Maya loves the playground there. Perfect. Saturday morning? That works. Sophia found herself smiling for the first time since yesterday. And Nicholas? Thank you. For understanding why I have to be careful. Any good mother would be careful. I respect that. Saturday morning was bright and sunny, perfect playground weather. Sophia had chosen her outfit carefully, wanting to look nice but not like she was trying too hard. Maya had insisted on wearing her favorite dress, the one with purple flowers that was getting too small but still made her feel pretty. They arrived at the park 10 minutes early, and Sophia spent the time pushing Maya on the swings while scanning the area for Nicholas. She spotted him walking across the grass at exactly 11 o'clock, right on time. He looked different in casual clothes. The expensive suit had been replaced with dark jeans and a simple blue button-down shirt. He still looked put together but more approachable somehow. Nicholas. Maya jumped off the swing and ran toward him with the kind of fearless enthusiasm that made Sophia's heart skip. But Nicholas caught Maya in a gentle hug and spun her around once before setting her back down, and Sophia relaxed slightly. "Hey there, my Rose. You look beautiful today." Maya beamed and twirled to show off her dress. "Mama said we could have lunch with you and then you could watch me go down the big slide." "I would love that," Nicholas said, then turned to Sophia. "Good morning. Thank you for agreeing to meet me." Up close and in daylight, Sophia could see that Nicholas was probably in his early 30s, with kind eyes and a smile that seemed genuine. He wasn't movie star handsome, but there was something warm and trustworthy about his face. "Thanks for being understanding about all this," Sophia replied. "It's not easy being a single mom. You have to be extra careful." "I imagine it's one of the hardest jobs in the world," Nicholas said seriously. "Maya's lucky to have someone who cares so much about protecting her." They ordered lunch from the park cafe and found a picnic table where they could watch Maya play on the nearby playground. Nicholas seemed genuinely interested in hearing about Maya's favorite activities, her school, her friends. He asked thoughtful questions and listened carefully to the answers. "She's incredibly bright," he observed as Maya demonstrated her ability to go down the slide backwards. "Too bright sometimes," Sophia laughed. "She asks questions I don't know how to answer." "Like what?" Sophia hesitated, then decided to be honest. "Like why her daddy didn't want to stay with us. Like why some families have two parents and we only have one. Like whether there's something wrong with us that makes people leave." Nicholas's expression grew serious. "There's nothing wrong with either of you. Sometimes people just aren't ready for the responsibility of loving someone else properly." The way he said it made Sophia think he was speaking from experience. "You sound like you know something about that." "I do." Nicholas watched Maya climb to the top of the jungle gym. "I wasn't always alone. I had a wife and a little girl once." Sophie was about Maya's age. Sophia felt her heart constrict. "What happened?" "Car accident 3 years ago. I was working late as usual." They were coming home from Sophie's dance recital. Nicholas's voice was steady, but Sophia could see the pain in his eyes. "If I had been there, if I had gone to the recital instead of staying at the office." "It wasn't your fault," Sophia said automatically. "Maybe not. But it feels like it was." Nicholas smiled sadly. "Sophie used to beg me to come to her school events just like Maya did yesterday. I was always too busy, always had something more important to do. When I saw Maya in that parking lot, asking for someone to care about her special day, I couldn't walk away." Sophia felt tears prick her eyes. "I'm so sorry. I can't imagine losing Maya. The worst part is that they died thinking I didn't care enough to be there. I never got to show Sophie that she was more important than any business meeting." They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes, watching Maya make friends with other children on the playground. Sophia found herself looking at Nicholas differently now. He wasn't just some wealthy stranger offering charity. He was a father who had lost his chance to be there for his daughter and wanted to make sure Maya didn't feel forgotten on her special day. "The daddy-daughter dance," Sophia said quietly. "It's not just about helping Maya, is it?" Nicholas shook his head. "I keep thinking about all the dances I missed with Sophie. All the times I chose work over being present for the moments that mattered to her. I can't get those back, but maybe I can make sure Maya doesn't feel like she doesn't matter." "She already thinks you're wonderful," Sophia observed, watching Maya wave at them from the top of the slide. "She's been talking about you all week. She's an amazing kid. You should be proud." "I am. She's literally the best thing that ever happened to me." Sophia paused, then made a decision. "Okay. You can take her to the dance." Nicholas looked surprised. "Are you sure?" "No," Sophia admitted. "I'm terrified. But I can see that you genuinely care about making her happy, and that's more than her biological father ever did. Just promise me you'll be careful with her heart. She gets attached easily." "I promise," Nicholas said solemnly. "I won't let her down." Maya came running over, breathless and grass-stained but grinning. "Did you see me go down the big slide? I went super fast." "You were amazing," Nicholas told her. "Almost as fast as a race car." Maya giggled. Can we get ice cream now? If it's okay with your mom, Nicholas said, looking to Sophia for permission. One scoop, Sophia agreed, and Maya cheered. As they walked toward the ice cream stand, Maya slipped her small hand into Nicholas's larger one with complete trust. Sophia watched the gesture and felt her heart do something complicated. Maya had never done that with anyone outside their family before. Maybe this arrangement would be good for both of them. Maya would get her special day, and Nicholas would get a chance to be the kind of father he wished he had been. As long as Sophia remembered that it was just for one day, that Nicholas was helping them out of kindness but not looking for anything permanent, everything would be fine. She just had to keep her own heart out of it. The daddy-daughter dance was everything Maya had dreamed it would be and more. Nicholas showed up at their apartment at exactly 1:30 p.m. wearing a navy suit with a small purple flower pinned to his lapel that perfectly matched Maya's dress. He had even brought a corsage for Maya's wrist, just like the other dads had done for their daughters. "You look like a princess, Maya Rose," Nicholas said as he carefully helped her pin the corsage on her tiny wrist. Maya beamed and did a little twirl. "Mama did my hair special with the curling iron." "Your mama did a beautiful job," Nicholas agreed, glancing at Sophia with an expression she couldn't quite read. "You both look lovely." Sophia had spent extra time getting ready, telling herself it was just because she wanted to look nice for the photos they would take, but deep down she knew she wanted Nicholas to see her as more than just Maya's overwhelmed mother. "Thank you again for doing this," she said as she grabbed her camera and purse. "I know it's not how you planned to spend your Saturday." "Actually, I can't remember the last time I looked forward to something this much," Nicholas replied, and Sophia was surprised by how sincere he sounded. The school gymnasium had been transformed with twinkling lights, balloons, and a makeshift dance floor. Maya's eyes went wide as she took in all the decorations and the other father-daughter pairs already dancing to soft music. "It's even prettier than I imagined," she whispered to Nicholas. "It really is," he agreed, offering her his arm like a proper gentleman. "Shall we dance, Miss Maya?" Maya giggled and took his arm, and Sophia felt her heart squeeze as she watched them walk onto the dance floor together. Nicholas was gentle and patient, letting Maya stand on his feet for the fast songs and twirling her carefully during the slower ones. Her daughter's face was absolutely radiant with joy. "Your husband is wonderful with her." Sophia turned to find another mother standing beside her, watching the dancers with a warm smile. "Oh, he's not my husband," Sophia corrected quickly. "He's just a friend helping us out." The woman raised her eyebrows. "Really? The way he looks at both of you, I would have sworn you were family." Sophia glanced back at the dance floor and caught Nicholas looking directly at her while he swayed with Maya in his arms. When their eyes met, he smiled in a way that made her stomach flip. "We just met this week," Sophia said, more to remind herself than to inform the other mother. "Well, honey, sometimes the best things happen when you least expect them," the woman said with a knowing smile before walking away to take pictures of her own husband and daughter. The dance lasted 2 hours, and Maya was exhausted but ecstatic by the time it ended. She had made friends with several other girls, shown off her dancing skills, and eaten more cookies than Sophia usually allowed in a week. That was the best day ever. Maya declared as they walked to Nicholas's car. "Can we do it again next week?" Nicholas laughed. "I don't think your school has dances every week, sweetheart." "Then can we have our own dance? At home?" Sophia felt panic rise in her chest. Maya was getting too attached, exactly what she had been afraid would happen. "Maya, remember what we talked about. Nicholas was just helping us out for today." Maya's face fell slightly, but Nicholas quickly knelt down to her level. "Hey Maya Rose, would it be okay if I came to visit you and your mama sometimes? Not for dances necessarily, but maybe we could go to the park or get ice cream." Maya's eyes lit up again. "Really? You want to be our friend?" "I would like that very much," Nicholas said, looking up at Sophia for permission. "If it's okay with your mom." Sophia found herself nodding before she could think it through. Yes. That would be nice." Over the next few weeks, Nicholas became a regular part of their lives in small, natural ways. He would stop by on Saturday mornings with coffee for Sophia and hot chocolate for Maya. He would take them to the park or the zoo on sunny afternoons. He even helped Maya with a school project about different types of buildings, patiently explaining architecture concepts in ways a 6-year-old could understand. What surprised Sophia most was how comfortable it all felt. Nicholas never tried to overstep boundaries or take over her role as Maya's parent. Instead, he seemed to genuinely enjoy spending time with both of them, asking about Sophia's work at the diner and listening to Maya's elaborate stories about her friends at school. "You're really good with her," Sophia told him one evening as they watched Maya play on the swings at their neighborhood park. She makes it easy, Nicholas replied. She's got such a big heart and such a curious mind. She reminds me of... He trailed off, but Sophia knew he was thinking about Sophie. It must be hard, spending time with a little girl when you lost your daughter. Nicholas was quiet for a moment, pushing Maya higher on the swing as she squealed with delight. It is hard sometimes. But it's also healing in a way. I get to remember what I loved about being a dad without feeling guilty about moving forward with my life. Do you think Sophie would have liked Maya? I think they would have been best friends, Nicholas said with a sad smile. Sophie was always trying to take care of everyone around her, just like Maya does. As the weeks passed, Sophia found herself looking forward to Nicholas's visits more than she wanted to admit. He was easy to talk to, funny without trying too hard, and incredibly patient with Maya's endless questions and boundless energy. More than that, he seemed to genuinely care about both of them, not just as charity cases but as people he enjoyed being around. One evening, after Maya had fallen asleep on the couch between them during a movie, Nicholas gently carried her to her bedroom and tucked her in with the kind of natural tenderness that made Sophia's heart ache. "You're a natural at this," she said as they walked back to the living room. "It feels right," Nicholas admitted. "Being here with you too. It feels like home in a way I didn't think I'd ever experience again." They stood in the doorway of the living room, close enough that Sophia could smell his cologne and see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes. For a moment she thought he might kiss her and she realized she wanted him to. Instead, Nicholas stepped back and cleared his throat. "I should probably head home. Early morning tomorrow." "Of course," Sophia said, trying to hide her disappointment. "Thank you for dinner. And for fixing Maya's bookshelf. You didn't have to do that." "I wanted to," Nicholas said simply. "I like taking care of you too." After he left, Sophia sat on her couch thinking about how different her life had become in just a few weeks. Maya was happier than she had been in months, laughing more and having fewer tantrums about not having a father figure. And Sophia herself felt lighter somehow, like she didn't have to carry the weight of single parenthood entirely alone anymore. But late that night, as she lay in bed thinking about the way Nicholas had looked at her, Sophia reminded herself not to get too comfortable. Good things didn't usually last in her experience. Men left when things got too real or too complicated. She had learned that lesson the hard way with Maya's father, and she couldn't afford to let Maya get hurt if Nicholas decided their little arrangement wasn't working for him anymore. Still, as she drifted off to sleep, Sophia couldn't help but imagine what it would be like if Nicholas wasn't just visiting their life but actually sharing it. If Maya could call him daddy without it being pretend. If Sophia could fall asleep in his arms instead of alone in her too quiet apartment. It was a dangerous dream, but for the first time in years, it felt like it might actually be possible. 3 months after the daddy-daughter dance, their lives had settled into a comfortable rhythm that felt surprisingly natural. Nicholas came over for dinner every Tuesday and Thursday, spent Saturday afternoons with them at various activities around town, and had even started attending Maya's school events when Sophia had to work late shifts at the diner. "Nicholas is coming to my class presentation about butterflies," Maya announced one morning as Sophia braided her hair for school. "Mrs. Peterson said all the parents are invited, and Nicholas said he's practically my dad now, so he should come." Sophia's hands stilled in Maya's hair. "Maya, honey, what do you mean he's practically your dad?" "Well, he comes to dinner and helps me with homework and fixes things when they're broken and takes us fun places," Maya explained matter-of-factly. "That's what dads do, right? Plus he loves us and we love him." The casual way Maya said it made Sophia's heart race. She had been trying so hard to keep boundaries clear, to make sure Maya understood that Nicholas was their friend, not a permanent fixture in their lives. But somewhere along the way, those lines had blurred without her realizing it. "Sweetheart, Nicholas is our very good friend," Sophia said carefully. "But friends sometimes move away or get busy with their own lives. We can't always count on them being around forever." Maya twisted around to look at her mother with confusion. "But Nicholas isn't going anywhere. He told me he loves being part of our family." Before Sophia could figure out how to respond to that, there was a knock at the door. Nicholas always arrived at exactly 7:30 on weekday mornings to have coffee with Sophia and walk Maya to school before Sophia left for her morning shift at the diner. "That's Nicholas." Maya jumped up and ran to the door, her butterfly presentation forgotten on the kitchen table. "Good morning, beautiful girl," Sophia heard Nicholas say as Maya launched herself into his arms for their usual morning hug. "Are you ready to tell everyone about monarch butterflies today?" "Yes. And you're going to be there to watch me?" "I wouldn't miss it for the world." Nicholas appeared in the kitchen doorway with Maya still in his arms, and Sophia felt the familiar flutter in her stomach that happened every time she saw them together. Over the past few months, Nicholas had become more relaxed around them, more openly affectionate with Maya and more comfortable in their small apartment. He kept a coffee mug in their cabinet now, and Maya had talked Sophia into getting him his own key so he could let himself in when they were running late. "Good morning," he said to Sophia, setting Maya down and reaching for his mug. "You look tired. Long night at the diner?" "Just the usual Saturday crowd," Sophia replied, trying not to think about how domestic this all felt. Nicholas making coffee while Maya finished her breakfast, asking about her work like a concerned partner, planning to attend their daughter's school presentation. Except Maya wasn't their daughter, and Nicholas wasn't her partner. He was a kind man who had taken pity on them and gotten more involved than he probably intended. Sophia needed to remember that before Maya got hurt. "Maya, go brush your teeth and get your backpack," Sophia instructed. "Nicholas, can I talk to you for a minute?" Once Maya was out of earshot, Sophia turned to Nicholas with a serious expression. "We need to talk about boundaries." Nicholas raised an eyebrow. "Okay. What's going on?" "Maya is starting to think of you as her father," Sophia said quietly. "She told me this morning that you're practically her dad now, and she's telling people at school that you're part of our family." "And that's a problem?" Nicholas asked, his voice carefully neutral. "Yes, it's a problem." Sophia kept her voice low but couldn't hide her frustration. "Nicholas, you're not her father. You're not my husband. We're not actually a family, no matter how much it might feel like it sometimes." Nicholas set down his coffee mug with more force than necessary. "Why does that bother you so much?" "Because Maya is 6 years old and she doesn't understand that this is temporary. She's going to be heartbroken when you get tired of playing house with us and move on with your life." "Who says I'm going to get tired of this?" "Everyone gets tired of it eventually," Sophia said, her own pain creeping into her voice. "Maya's biological father promised he loved us too, right up until the day he decided being responsible for a family was too hard and disappeared." Nicholas stared at her for a long moment. "You think I'm going to abandon you? I think you're a good man who started helping us out of kindness, but I also think you're going to realize eventually that taking care of someone else's child isn't what you signed up for." "What if I want to sign up for it?" Nicholas asked quietly. "What if I want this to be real?" The question hung in the air between them, loaded with possibilities that terrified Sophia. Before she could figure out how to respond, Maya came bounding back into the kitchen with her backpack and her butterfly presentation. "I'm ready. Can we go now? I don't want to be late." Nicholas looked at Sophia for another moment, something unreadable in his expression, then smiled at Maya. "Of course, sweetheart. Let's get you to school." The walk to Maya's school was quieter than usual, with Nicholas and Sophia both lost in their own thoughts while Maya chattered about her presentation. At the school gates, Maya hugged them both goodbye with her usual enthusiasm. "See you at 2 o'clock for my butterfly talk," she called as she ran toward her classroom. "Sophia," Nicholas said as they walked back toward the apartment. "What we talked about this morning, can we finish that conversation later?" "I think we should probably take a break from spending so much time together," Sophia said, not meeting his eyes. "Maya needs to understand that she can't depend on you being around all the time." "And what about what you need?" Nicholas asked, stopping in the middle of the sidewalk. "What about what I need?" Sophia forced herself to look at him. "It doesn't matter what we need. Maya comes first and she needs stability, not false hope." "It doesn't have to be false hope," Nicholas said desperately. "Sophia, I love you. I love Maya. I want to be part of your family for real, not just pretending." The words hit Sophia like a physical blow. She had been so focused on protecting Maya's heart that she hadn't realized her own was just as much at risk. "You don't know what you're saying," she whispered. "I know exactly what I'm saying. I've known for weeks now that this isn't just about helping Maya anymore. It's about wanting to build a life with both of you." Sophia felt tears start to burn her eyes. "Nicholas, you can't just decide you want a ready-made family. It doesn't work that way." "Why not? Why can't it work that way if we all want the same thing?" "Because you'll change your mind." The words came out louder than she intended, and she looked around quickly to make sure no one was listening. "You'll realize that dating a single mother means never coming first, means always having a child involved in everything we do, means dealing with tantrums and homework and sleepless nights when she's sick. You'll realize it's not as romantic as you thought." Nicholas reached for her hands but she pulled them away. "Sophia, I've been dealing with all of those things for months now, and I've loved every minute of it. Because it was temporary. Because you could go home to your quiet, clean apartment whenever you wanted. I don't want to go home to a quiet apartment anymore, Nicholas said firmly. I want to go home to you and Maya arguing about bedtime and cartoons playing too loud and toys all over the living room. I want the chaos and the noise and the beautiful mess of having a family again. Sophia felt her resolve wavering, but she forced herself to stay strong. I won't let you hurt Maya when you realize this isn't what you actually want. Then don't think about Maya for a minute, Nicholas said, stepping closer. Think about yourself. What do you want, Sophia? The question was so simple and so impossible to answer honestly. What she wanted was standing right in front of her, offering her everything she had dreamed about but never believed she could have. I want you to go to Maya's presentation this afternoon like you promised, she said finally. And then I want you to take some time to really think about what you're saying. Because if you decide you want to try this for real, there's no going back. Maya will be all in and so will I. Nicholas nodded slowly. And if I decide I want this? If I'm sure? Then we'll figure it out together, Sophia said, surprising herself with the admission. That afternoon, Sophia sat in Maya's classroom watching her daughter give an animated presentation about monarch butterflies while Nicholas sat beside her like any other proud parent. Maya beamed every time she made eye contact with them, clearly thrilled to have both of her favorite people there to support her. After the presentation, Maya ran over to them with sparkling eyes. Did you see how I remembered everything about their migration? And I didn't forget any of the big words. You were amazing, sweetheart, Nicholas said, scooping her up for a congratulatory hug. I'm so proud of you. Are we going to celebrate with ice cream? Maya asked hopefully. Sophia and Nicholas exchanged a look over Maya's head. They hadn't discussed what would happen after the school event, whether Nicholas would come home with them for dinner as usual or if this was where they started their break. I think ice cream sounds perfect, Nicholas decided. What do you think, Mama? The casual way he included her in the decision, like they were a team making choices together about their daughter, made Sophia's heart ache with longing. Ice cream sounds good, she agreed. They went to Maya's favorite ice cream shop, where she ordered a massive sundae and chattered non-stop about butterflies and her friends' presentations. Nicholas listened attentively and asked thoughtful questions just like he always did. Watching him with Maya, seeing how naturally he had stepped into a parental role, Sophia found it harder and harder to convince herself that this arrangement was temporary. When they got back to the apartment, Maya was exhausted from excitement and fell asleep on the couch within minutes of putting on a movie. Nicholas gently carried her to her bedroom and tucked her in while Sophia cleaned up their dinner dishes. She had a good day, Nicholas said when he came back to the kitchen. She did. Thank you for being there. It meant a lot to her. It meant a lot to me too. Nicholas leaned against the counter, watching her dry the last plate. Sophia, I've been thinking about what you said this morning. Her hands stilled. And? I understand why you're scared. I understand why trusting someone with Maya's heart feels impossible after what her father did to both of you. Sophia set down the dish towel and turned to face him. But I need you to understand something too. I'm not him. I'm not going to wake up one day and decide that loving you both is too hard or too complicated. This isn't a game to me or some kind of charity project that I'll get bored with. How can you be so sure? Nicholas was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. When my wife and daughter died, I thought my chance at having a family was over forever. I thought I would spend the rest of my life alone, missing what I had lost. But being with you and Maya, it's not about replacing what I lost. It's about building something new, something different but just as precious. Sophia felt tears start to well up in her eyes. Nicholas. I know I can't promise that nothing will ever go wrong or that we won't face challenges. But I can promise that I won't run away when things get difficult. I can promise that my feelings for both of you aren't going anywhere. What if Maya gets too attached and then something happens to you? Sophia asked, voicing her deepest fear. What if I let myself believe this is real and then I lose you too? Nicholas crossed the kitchen and gently took her face in his hands. What if you don't? What if we build something beautiful together? What if Maya grows up knowing that she was chosen and loved by someone who didn't have to stay but wanted to? Sophia closed her eyes and leaned into his touch. I'm so scared. I know. But maybe we can be scared together. When she opened her eyes, Nicholas was looking at her with so much love and tenderness that it took her breath away. Are you sure this is what you want? Really sure? I've never been more sure of anything in my life, he said quietly. I love you, Sophia. I love Maya. I want to wake up in this apartment every morning and come home to you both every night. I want to help with homework and attend school plays and teach Maya how to ride a bike. I want all of it, the good and the bad and everything in between. Sophia felt the last of her defenses crumble. I love you too, she whispered. I've been trying so hard not to, but I love you too. Nicholas smiled and leaned down to kiss her, soft and sweet and full of promise. When they broke apart, Sophia felt like she could finally breathe properly for the first time in months. So what happens now? She asked. Now we stop pretending this is temporary, Nicholas said, pulling her closer. Now we become a real family. From Maya's bedroom came a sleepy voice. Are you and Nicholas done talking? Because I want to know if he's going to live with us now like a real daddy. Sophia and Nicholas looked at each other and started laughing. Apparently, their conversation hadn't been as private as they thought. What do you think, Maya Rose? Nicholas called back. Would you like me to be your real daddy? Yes. Maya's excited voice carried clearly through the apartment. Can I call you daddy now instead of Nicholas? I would love that more than anything, Nicholas replied, his voice thick with emotion. As Maya's happy chattering continued from her bedroom about all the things they could do as a real family, Sophia looked up at Nicholas and saw tears in his eyes that matched her own. Are you ready for this? She asked. I've been ready since the day I met you both, he said, kissing her forehead. Let's go tell our daughter that her daddy is finally home to stay. 2 weeks after Nicholas had officially become part of their family, Sophia was starting to feel like she was living in someone else's life. Nicholas had moved most of his belongings into their small apartment, transforming their space in ways both big and small. Maya now had a father to help her get ready for school every morning, someone to read bedtime stories with different voices for all the characters, and a person who never seemed to tire of her endless questions about everything from why the sky was blue to how airplanes stayed up in the air. But it was the little changes that were throwing Sophia off balance. The expensive coffee maker that had appeared on her counter without discussion. The way Nicholas had quietly paid for groceries when he thought she wasn't looking. The fact that Maya's broken bicycle had been mysteriously replaced with a brand new one that cost more than Sophia made in 2 weeks at the diner. Mama, look what Daddy bought me. Maya called out one afternoon, running into the living room wearing a beautiful new dress that definitely hadn't come from their usual discount store shopping trips. Sophia looked up from folding laundry to see Maya twirling in what was obviously a designer outfit, complete with matching shoes that probably cost more than Sophia's rent. It's very pretty, baby, Sophia said carefully. Where did you and Nicholas go shopping? The fancy store downtown. Daddy said I needed pretty clothes for when we go to nice restaurants together. Nice restaurants. Sophia and Maya ate at the local diner when they wanted to treat themselves, and even that was a rare luxury. The idea of fancy restaurants made her stomach clench with anxiety. When Nicholas came home that evening with Thai takeout from a restaurant Sophia had never heard of, she was ready to have a conversation. Maya, why don't you wash your hands and set the table? She suggested, waiting until their daughter was out of earshot before turning to Nicholas. We need to talk about money, she said without preamble. Nicholas looked genuinely confused. Okay. What about it? The dress, the bicycle, the fancy takeout, the coffee maker. Nicholas, I can't afford any of this stuff and I don't want Maya thinking this is normal. What's wrong with wanting to buy nice things for my family? The word family still made Sophia's heart skip, but she forced herself to stay focused. Because this isn't sustainable for us. When Maya outgrows that dress or the bicycle breaks, I can't replace it with something equally expensive. I don't want her getting used to a lifestyle I can't maintain. Nicholas set down the takeout bags and gave her his full attention. Sophia, you don't have to maintain it alone. That's the point of us being together. But what if something happens to you? What if you decide this isn't working and you leave? Maya will be used to all these nice things and I'll have to explain why we suddenly can't afford them anymore. Why do you keep assuming I'm going to leave? Nicholas asked, frustration creeping into his voice. Because that's what people do. The words came out sharper than Sophia intended. People leave when reality sets in, when the novelty wears off, when they realize that playing family isn't as fun as they thought it would be. Nicholas stared at her for a long moment. Is that really what you think this is to me? Playing family? Before Sophia could answer, Maya came back into the kitchen with clean hands and an expectant smile. Can we eat now? I'm starving and it smells really good. They had dinner with forced smiles and light conversation, both of them trying not to let Maya see the tension between them. But Sophia could feel Nicholas watching her throughout the meal, and she could see the hurt in his eyes that he was trying to hide. After Maya went to bed, they sat on opposite ends of the couch with the TV on but neither of them really watching it. I looked into some things today, Nicholas said quietly during a commercial break. What kind of things? Your finances. Your job situation. How much you're making versus how much everything costs. Sophia felt heat rise in her cheeks. You had no right to do that. I had every right. You're the woman I love and Maya is my daughter now. I wanted to understand what kind of pressure you've been living under. Maya is not your daughter, Sophia said automatically, then immediately regretted it when she saw Nicholas flinch. Legally no. But in every way that matters, she is. And Sophia, you're drowning financially. You work 60 hours a week and you're still barely keeping your head above water. The apartment rent alone takes up more than half your income. We get by just fine. Getting by isn't the same as living, Nicholas said gently. When was the last time you bought yourself something new? When was the last time you and Maya went somewhere fun without worrying about how much it would cost? Sophia didn't answer because they both knew it had been months, maybe longer. I want to help, Nicholas continued. I want to make life easier for both of you. What's wrong with that? Because it makes me feel like charity, Sophia admitted. Like you're taking care of poor, struggling us out of pity. It's not pity. It's love. There's a difference. Is there? How do I know you're not just feeling guilty about having money when we don't? How do I know this isn't some kind of savior complex? Nicholas was quiet for so long that Sophia thought he might not answer. When he finally spoke, his voice was very calm and very careful. My wife came from money. Her family had more than they knew what to do with, and they never let me forget that I came from nothing. Every gift they gave us came with strings attached. Every favor came with reminders of how grateful I should be. When I finally started making my own money, I swore I would never make anyone feel the way they made me feel. Sophia felt a stab of guilt. Nicholas, I didn't mean. I know you didn't. But I need you to understand that everything I do for you and Maya comes from wanting to take care of the people I love, not from wanting to control you or make you feel small. Then why does it feel so overwhelming? Nicholas moved closer to her on the couch. Because you're not used to having someone take care of you. You've been doing everything alone for so long that accepting help feels scary. What if I get used to it and then you change your mind about us? What if you get used to it and I don't change my mind? Nicholas countered. What if this is just what love looks like when someone has the means to show it this way? Sophia leaned back against the couch cushions, feeling exhausted by the emotional weight of the conversation. I just don't want Maya to get hurt if this doesn't work out. And I don't want you to push me away because you're afraid of what might happen. Nicholas reached for her hand. Sophia, I can't promise that nothing will ever go wrong in our lives. But I can promise that my feelings for you and Maya aren't dependent on how much money I spend or don't spend. I loved you both when I thought you just needed help with a school dance. I'll love you just as much if we never buy anything expensive again. Sophia squeezed his hand but didn't say anything. Part of her wanted to believe him completely, but another part of her couldn't shake the feeling that all of this was too good to be true. Maybe we should slow down a little, she said finally. With the gifts and the expensive stuff. I need time to adjust to all these changes. Nicholas nodded, though she could see disappointment in his eyes. If that's what you need. It is. And Nicholas? Maya isn't allowed to call you daddy at school yet. I need to talk to her teacher first, make sure everyone understands the situation. What situation is that, exactly? That you're not legally her father. That this is all still new and we're figuring it out as we go. Nicholas pulled his hand away from hers. Right. Because I'm still just the guy who might leave at any moment. That's not what I meant. Isn't it? Nicholas stood up and headed toward the bedroom. I'm going to bed. We can talk more about this tomorrow when you've decided whether I'm part of this family or just visiting it. After he left, Sophia sat alone on the couch feeling like she had ruined something precious. She wanted to trust Nicholas completely, wanted to believe that love could be simple and uncomplicated. But every instinct she had developed as a single mother told her to be careful, to protect Maya's heart even if it meant risking her own happiness. The problem was, she was starting to realize that protecting Maya might mean losing the best thing that had ever happened to either of them. And she didn't know how to balance being cautious with being open to the possibility that Nicholas was exactly what he seemed to be. A man who genuinely wanted to love them both forever. As she turned off the lights and headed to bed, Sophia wondered if her fear of being hurt was going to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If she kept pushing Nicholas away to protect herself and Maya, she might end up losing him anyway. But knowing that and knowing how to stop it were two very different things. The tension between Sophia and Nicholas had been building for days, creating an uncomfortable atmosphere that even Maya seemed to notice. Their daughter had started asking why Daddy looked sad and why Mama was working extra shifts at the diner, as if staying busy could help her avoid the growing problems at home. I think you're being crazy, Sophia's best friend Keisha said during their lunch break at the diner. The man clearly loves you and Maya. He's been nothing but wonderful for months. Why are you looking for problems? I'm not looking for problems, Sophia protested, wiping down tables with more force than necessary. I'm just being realistic. Men like Nicholas don't usually fall for single mothers who work at diners. Men like Nicholas? Rich men. Successful men. Men who could have anyone they want. Keisha set down her coffee and stared at her friend. Sophia, are you listening to yourself? You're a beautiful, smart, hardworking woman raising an amazing daughter on your own. Any man would be lucky to have you. That's not how the world works and you know it. That's how love works. And from what I've seen, that man is head over heels in love with both of you. But Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that something didn't add up. Nicholas had expensive taste, drove a luxury car and seemed to have unlimited money to spend on them, but he had never clearly explained what he did for work. Business consulting was vague, and when she asked follow-up questions he always changed the subject. I'm going to look him up online, Sophia announced. Why? Because I have a daughter to protect. Because I need to know who I'm letting into our lives. That evening, after Nicholas had gone home to give her the space she had requested, Sophia sat at her laptop while Maya watched cartoons. She started with a simple Google search, Nicholas Stevens Business Consulting. What she found made her stomach drop. The first result was a Forbes article titled, Young Billionaire Nicholas Stevens Revolutionizes Tech Consulting. The second was a business magazine profile calling him one of the most eligible bachelors in America. The third was a society page photo of Nicholas at some charity gala, looking perfectly comfortable in a tuxedo that probably cost more than Sophia's car. Billionaire. Not just wealthy, not just successful. Billionaire. With shaking hands, Sophia clicked through article after article, each one revealing more about Nicholas's real life. He owned a tech consulting firm that worked with Fortune 500 companies. He had houses in 3 different cities. He sat on the boards of multiple charities and had donated millions of dollars to various causes. The most recent article, dated just 6 months ago, showed Nicholas at another charity event with the headline, Grieving Widower Nicholas Stevens Finds New Purpose in Philanthropy. The article talked about how he had thrown himself into charitable work after losing his wife and daughter, focusing particularly on organizations that helped single mothers and children. Single mothers? Sophia felt sick as the pieces started clicking together. Nicholas hadn't stumbled into their lives by accident. He hadn't been genuinely moved by Maya's request in the parking lot. He had been looking for single mothers to help, and they had been the perfect charity case. Mama, are you okay? Maya appeared beside her chair, looking concerned. You look sad. Sophia quickly closed the laptop. I'm fine, baby. Just tired. Is Daddy coming for dinner tomorrow? The innocent question made Sophia's heart break. Maya had no idea that the man she had come to love as a father was actually a billionaire who was probably just going through a phase of playing house with them. I don't know, sweetheart. We'll see. That night, Sophia lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of their relationship through this new lens. The expensive gifts suddenly made sense. They were nothing to someone with Nicholas's wealth. The way he had seamlessly stepped into their lives, the way he seemed too good to be true, because he was. She thought about the charity article, about how Nicholas had dedicated himself to helping single mothers after losing his family. They weren't special to him. They were just another cause, another way for him to feel good about himself by helping people less fortunate. The next morning, Nicholas arrived for his usual coffee and walk with Maya to school, but Sophia was ready for him. We need to talk, she said after Maya had gone to brush her teeth. Okay, Nicholas said cautiously, clearly picking up on her tone. I know who you are, Sophia said simply. Nicholas went very still. What do you mean? I mean, I know you're not just some business consultant. I know you're Nicholas Stevens, the billionaire tech mogul. I know about your company, your houses, your charity work with single mothers. Nicholas closed his eyes and let out a long breath. Sophia. How long were you planning to keep lying to me? I wasn't lying. I just wasn't telling you everything. That's the same thing. Sophia's voice rose despite her efforts to stay calm. You've been pretending to be someone you're not this entire time. I haven't been pretending anything. Everything I've told you about myself is true. Except for the part where you're a billionaire who makes helping poor single mothers his hobby. Nicholas flinched as if she had slapped him. Is that really what you think this is? What else am I supposed to think? You read about grieving widowers who find purpose in charity work, and that's exactly what you are. We're just your latest project. That's not true. Isn't it? Tell me honestly, Nicholas. If you hadn't lost your wife and daughter, if you weren't looking for ways to ease your guilt by helping other families, would you have ever looked twice at a diner waitress and her daughter? Nicholas was quiet for a long moment, and his silence felt like confirmation of everything Sophia feared. I can't answer that, he said finally, because I did lose them and that experience did change me. But my feelings for you and Maya are real regardless of how they started. How can I believe that when you've been lying to me about who you are for months? I didn't tell you about the money because I wanted you to love me for who I am, not what I have. And I don't get a choice in that? I don't get to make informed decisions about my own life and my daughter's life. Maya came running back into the kitchen with her backpack, completely oblivious to the tension. I'm ready for school. Are we going to be late? Sophia and Nicholas both forced smiles for Maya's sake, but the walk to school was awkward and quiet. At the school gates, Maya hugged them both goodbye as usual, but Sophia could see the confusion in her daughter's eyes at their strange behavior. Can we finish talking when I get back? Nicholas asked as they walked away from the school. I think you should take some time to figure out what you really want, Sophia said. And I need time to figure out if I can trust you again. Sophia, please. Don't let this ruin what we have. What we have is built on lies, Sophia replied. I need to think about what's best for Maya. What about what's best for us? For you? Sophia stopped walking and turned to face him. I'm a single mother, Nicholas. Maya comes first, always. And I won't let her get attached to someone who's just playing at being her father until he gets bored or finds a new cause to support. That's not what this is. Then what is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like a very wealthy man decided to adopt a charity case to make himself feel better about his losses. Nicholas looked like she had physically hurt him. If that's what you really think of me, then maybe you're right. Maybe we do need some time apart. He walked away without another word, leaving Sophia standing alone on the sidewalk feeling like she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. But as she watched his expensive car drive away, she reminded herself that she was protecting Maya from getting hurt when Nicholas inevitably returned to his real life. Even if it meant breaking both their hearts in the process. The first few days without Nicholas were the hardest. Maya kept asking when Daddy was coming home, when they were going to the park together, why he hadn't called to say goodnight like he always did. Each question felt like a knife in Sophia's chest, but she forced herself to stay strong. Daddy is just busy with work right now, sweetheart, Sophia explained for the 10th time as she tucked Maya into bed. Sometimes grown-ups have to take care of important things. But he always calls to tell me goodnight stories, Maya said, her lower lip trembling. Did I do something wrong? No, baby. You didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes things just change. Maya started crying then, the kind of heartbroken sobs that only children could produce. I want my daddy. I want him to come home. Sophia held her daughter while she cried, her own tears falling silently. This was exactly what she had been afraid would happen. Maya had gotten too attached, and now she was paying the price for Sophia's poor judgment. But as the days turned into a week and then 2 weeks, Sophia started to wonder if she had made a terrible mistake. Maya wasn't bouncing back the way children were supposed to. She was quieter at school, picked at her food during meals, and had started having nightmares about people leaving and never coming back. Maybe you should call him, Keisha suggested during one of their lunch breaks. Maya is miserable and honestly so are you. I can't, Sophia said, stirring her coffee absently. He lied to me about who he was. How can I trust anything he says now? Did he lie or did he just not tell you everything at once? What's the difference? The difference is intent. Did he hide his money to trick you, or did he hide it because he was afraid you wouldn't give him a chance if you knew how wealthy he was? Sophia thought about that. She remembered how uncomfortable Nicholas had been when she first questioned his motives for helping them, how he had insisted that he genuinely cared about Maya. At the time she had thought he was just being kind. Now she wondered if he had been trying to tell her something important that she hadn't wanted to hear. Even if that's true, we're from completely different worlds, Sophia said. What happens when he realizes that? What happens when his family and friends start asking questions about why he's with a diner waitress? What happens if you never find out because you're too scared to try? That evening, Sophia was cleaning up after dinner when there was a knock at the door. For a moment, her heart leaped with the hope that it might be Nicholas, but when she opened it, she found a delivery man with an enormous bouquet of flowers. Delivery for Maya Johnson, the man said. Maya came running over, her eyes wide at the sight of the beautiful arrangement. Are those for me? They sure are, sweetheart. Maya carefully opened the card attached to the flowers, and Sophia saw her daughter's face light up for the first time in weeks. What does it say, baby? It says, Dear Maya Rose, I miss you very much and I hope you are being good for your mama. Love, Daddy. Maya hugged the card to her chest. He misses me. Mama, can we call him now? Sophia felt tears prick her eyes. Even after she had accused him of using them as a charity project, Nicholas was still thinking about Maya, still trying to make her feel loved and remembered. Not tonight, sweetheart. But we can put the flowers in your room if you want. Over the next few days, more gifts arrived. A new book about butterflies for Maya, with a note saying he remembered how much she had loved her school presentation. A stuffed animal that looked exactly like the stray cat Maya had been feeding in their alley. Small, thoughtful gifts that showed Nicholas had been paying attention to the little things that mattered to Maya. But it was the envelope addressed to Sophia that finally broke her resolve. Inside was a simple card with a handwritten note. I know you asked for space and I'm trying to respect that. But I couldn't let another day go by without telling you that you were wrong about one thing. Even if I had never lost my wife and daughter, even if I had met you and Maya under completely different circumstances, I would have fallen in love with both of you. Your strength, your love for Maya, the way you light up a room when you smile, none of that has anything to do with charity or guilt. It has to do with the fact that you're extraordinary and Maya is lucky to have you as her mother. I'm the one who was lucky to be part of your lives even for a little while. I love you both more than I know how to say. Nicholas. Sophia read the note 3 times, then sat down at her kitchen table and cried harder than she had since Maya's father had left them. Mama, what's wrong? Maya appeared beside her, still clutching the butterfly book Nicholas had sent. I think I made a big mistake, baby. About Daddy? Sophia nodded, pulling Maya onto her lap. I was scared that he might leave us, so I pushed him away first. But I think maybe he really does love us the way we love him. Can we tell him we're sorry? Can we ask him to come home? I don't know if it's that simple, sweetheart. I said some things that probably hurt his feelings. Maya thought about this with the seriousness that only 6-year-olds could bring to important problems. When I hurt someone's feelings, you always tell me I should say sorry and try to make it better. You're right. That is what I always tell you. So we should say sorry to Daddy and try to make it better. Sophia looked down at her daughter's hopeful face and realized that Maya was probably the wisest person in their family. Okay, baby. We'll try to make it better. That night, after Maya was asleep, Sophia sat staring at her phone for an hour before finally getting the courage to dial Nicholas's number. It went straight to voicemail. Hi, it's me, she said after the beep. I got your note and I think we need to talk. Maya misses you so much and I miss you too. I was scared and I said things I didn't mean and I'm sorry. Could you call me back? Please? But Nicholas didn't call back that night or the next day or the day after that. Sophia started to worry that she had waited too long, that he had decided their relationship wasn't worth the drama and complications she had created. It wasn't until Maya came down with a high fever that Sophia realized just how much they had both come to depend on Nicholas being part of their lives. As she sat in the emergency room at 3 in the morning, holding her sick daughter and trying not to panic, she found herself wishing desperately that Nicholas was there. Not because she needed his money or his help, but because she needed his calm presence and his steady support and the way he could make Maya smile even when she felt terrible. Is Daddy coming? Maya asked weakly from the hospital bed. I don't know, baby. I tried to call him. Maybe he's mad at us, Maya said, her voice small and sad. Maybe he is, Sophia admitted. But that doesn't mean he doesn't love you. Sometimes people who love each other still get mad and need time to figure things out. Maya nodded solemnly, accepting this adult complexity with the resilience that had always amazed Sophia. As they waited for the doctor to come back with test results, Sophia made a decision. Even if Nicholas didn't want to be with her anymore, even if she had ruined their relationship with her fears and accusations, she owed him an apology. She owed him the truth about how she felt and what she had been afraid of. And if it was too late to fix what they had broken, at least Maya would know that her mother had tried to make things right. Maya's fever broke after 2 days, but the medical bills that followed nearly broke Sophia's spirit. Even with her insurance, the emergency room visit, blood tests and follow-up appointments cost more than she made in a month. She stared at the stack of bills on her kitchen table, calculating and recalculating, trying to figure out how she was going to pay for everything without falling behind on rent. Maybe I can pick up extra shifts, she muttered to herself, though she was already working 6 days a week and could barely keep up as it was. The phone rang, interrupting her calculations. It was someone from the hospital's billing department. Miss Johnson? I'm calling about your recent charges. It appears that your account has been paid in full by an anonymous benefactor. Sophia felt the room spin around her. What do you mean, paid in full? Someone called this morning and provided payment for all outstanding charges on your account. The caller specifically requested to remain anonymous, but they wanted to make sure you knew that everything had been taken care of. After she hung up, Sophia sat staring at the phone in shock. She knew exactly who the anonymous benefactor was, just like she knew who had been quietly helping them in ways she was only now beginning to understand. The next morning, Sophia called in sick to work and asked Keisha to watch Maya. She had something she needed to do and she couldn't put it off any longer. Nicholas's office building was exactly what she had expected after seeing those articles online, all glass and steel and marble, the kind of place where important business happened. She felt underdressed in her jeans and simple sweater, but she forced herself to walk through the impressive lobby to the reception desk. "I need to see Nicholas Stevens," she told the polished woman behind the counter. "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but please tell him that Sophia Johnson is here. It's important." The receptionist made a phone call, spoke quietly for a moment, then looked back at Sophia with surprise. "He'll see you right away. 32nd floor, corner office." The elevator ride felt like it took forever, and Sophia's hands were shaking by the time she reached Nicholas's floor. Another assistant directed her down a hallway lined with windows that offered breathtaking views of the city. Nicholas's office was enormous, with floor-to-ceiling windows and furniture that probably cost more than Sophia's annual salary. But when she saw him standing behind his desk in an expensive suit, looking every inch the billionaire businessman she had read about online, all her carefully planned words disappeared. "Sophia." He looked genuinely surprised to see her. "Is Maya okay? I heard she was sick." "She's fine now. Thanks to you." Nicholas didn't try to deny it. "How did you find out it was me?" "Because I know you," Sophia said simply. "Because even when I was pushing you away and saying terrible things about your motives, you were still taking care of us." They stood looking at each other across his massive office, and Sophia felt the weight of everything that had happened between them. "I owe you an apology," she said. "A huge one." "You don't owe me anything." "Yes, I do. I accused you of using us as a charity project, of playing at being Maya's father until you got bored. I said things that were cruel and unfair, and I'm sorry." Nicholas walked around his desk but didn't come any closer to her. "You were protecting Maya. I understand that." "No, I was protecting myself," Sophia admitted. "I was scared that if I let myself believe this was real, I'd get hurt when you realized you could do better than a single mother who works at a diner." "There is no better than you," Nicholas said quietly. "There never could be." Sophia felt tears start to well up in her eyes. "I looked you up online after I found out about the money. I read about your charity work, about how you've been helping single mothers since you lost your family. And that convinced you I was just using you for some kind of emotional therapy?" "At first, yes. But then I started thinking about all the other single mothers you could have helped. All the other children who needed father figures. You could have been supporting dozens of families, making a difference in hundreds of lives." Nicholas nodded slowly. "I do help other families. My foundation supports several programs for single mothers and children." "But you didn't just write us a check and move on to the next case," Sophia continued. "You showed up every day. You learned Maya's favorite bedtime stories and remembered what kind of ice cream she likes and sat through her butterfly presentation even though you probably had million-dollar deals to close. Because I love her. Because I love both of you." "I know that now," Sophia said, wiping tears from her cheeks. "I think I knew it then too, but I was too scared to believe it." Nicholas took a step closer to her. "What changed your mind?" "Maya got sick and I was sitting in that hospital room at 3 in the morning, and all I could think about was how much I wished you were there. Not because I needed your money to pay the bills, but because I needed you. Because Maya needed her daddy and I needed." She trailed off, not sure how to finish. "What did you need?" "I needed my partner. The person who helps me carry the weight of everything. The person who makes Maya laugh when she's scared and who makes me feel like I'm not facing the world alone anymore." Nicholas closed the distance between them and gently cupped her face in his hands. "You're not alone. You never have to be alone again if you don't want to be. What about the money thing? Your whole world versus mine. What about it? You think I care what anyone else thinks about who I choose to love? Your family, your friends, the people you do business with. The people who matter will be happy that I'm happy. The people who don't matter, don't matter." Nicholas smiled softly. "Sophia, I've been rich most of my adult life, and I've never been happier than I was having dinner in your tiny kitchen with you and Maya arguing about whether vegetables were actually necessary for good health." Sophia laughed despite her tears. She still thinks green beans are a conspiracy against children. Smart kid. Nicholas's thumb brushed away her tears. I've missed you both so much. This office, this whole building, none of it means anything without you and Maya to come home to. We missed you too. Maya cries herself to sleep some nights because she doesn't understand why her daddy isn't there to read her stories. Then let me come home, Nicholas said simply. Let me be her daddy and your partner and the person who helps carry the weight. Let me love you both the way you deserve to be loved. Sophia stood on her tiptoes and kissed him, pouring all of her apology and regret and love into the gesture. When they broke apart, she rested her forehead against his. I'm still scared, she admitted. Of what? Of this being too good to be true. Of not being enough for someone like you. Of Maya getting hurt if something goes wrong. What if instead of being scared of things going wrong we focus on making sure they go right? Nicholas suggested. What if we stop waiting for the other shoe to drop and just build something beautiful together? Is that what you want? Really? I want to marry you, Nicholas said without hesitation. I want to adopt Maya legally so she never has to wonder if I'm really her daddy. I want to have more children with you if you want them, and I want to grow old watching our grandchildren play in whatever backyard we choose together. Sophia felt her heart swell with so much love she thought it might burst. That sounds perfect. Then let's go home, Nicholas said, taking her hand. I have some explaining to do to a 6-year-old about why it took me so long to come back. As they left his office together, Sophia realized that she had been wrong about so many things. Love wasn't about being from the same world or having the same amount of money or being perfect for each other on paper. Love was about choosing each other every day, about building something together that was stronger than the sum of its parts. And most importantly, love was about trusting that sometimes the best things in life really were exactly as good as they seemed. Maya was playing in the apartment courtyard when she saw Nicholas's car pull up. For a moment she just stared as if she couldn't believe her eyes. Then she dropped her toy and ran toward him with the kind of pure joy that made Sophia's heart ache with happiness. Daddy? Daddy, you came back. Nicholas caught Maya in his arms and spun her around, both of them laughing and crying at the same time. I'm sorry I was gone so long, sweetheart. I missed you so much. I missed you too. I was scared you weren't coming back. I'm never leaving again, Nicholas promised, setting her down so he could look directly into her eyes. Maya Rose, I need you to understand something very important. I will always be your daddy no matter what happens. Even if Mama and I sometimes disagree about things, even if we get mad at each other, I will always love you and I will always be part of your life. Maya nodded solemnly, processing this important information. Mama said you might be mad at us. I was never mad at you, baby girl. And I wasn't really mad at Mama either. Sometimes grown-ups get scared and say things they don't mean, but that doesn't change how much we love each other. Are you and Mama going to get married now? Maya asked with the directness that only children possessed. Nicholas looked over at Sophia, who was standing in the doorway watching their reunion with tears streaming down her face. Would you like that? Yes. Then you could be my real daddy forever and ever. I'm already your real daddy, Nicholas said gently. Being married to Mama would just make it official. That evening, after they had ordered pizza and Maya had told Nicholas everything that had happened while he was gone, Sophia tucked their daughter into bed while Nicholas cleaned up the kitchen. Is Daddy going to live with us now? Maya asked as Sophia pulled the covers up to her chin. We're going to talk about that. There are some things we need to figure out first. Like what? Like where we're all going to live and how to make everything work the right way. Maya considered this. Can we live in a house with a backyard? I want to get a dog. Sophia laughed. We'll see, baby. One thing at a time. After Maya was asleep, Sophia and Nicholas sat on the couch talking about everything that had happened and everything they wanted to happen next. I know I messed up, Sophia said. I let my fear make decisions instead of trusting what I knew in my heart. We both made mistakes, Nicholas replied. I should have told you about the money from the beginning. I was so afraid you would see me differently that I didn't give you the chance to decide for yourself. I probably would have run away if you had told me you were a billionaire on our first date. Exactly. So maybe we both did what we thought was best at the time. Sophia curled up against Nicholas's side, finally allowing herself to relax completely for the first time in weeks. So what happens now? Now we start over, but this time with complete honesty about everything. Everything? Nicholas took a deep breath. I want to ask you to marry me, but I want to do it the right way. I want to court you properly, meet your family, show you that this isn't just about me wanting a ready-made family or you needing financial security. You want to court me? Sophia smiled at the old-fashioned term. I want to take you on real dates, just the two of us. I want you to see my world and decide if you can be comfortable in it. I want to meet your friends and family as your boyfriend, not just as Maya's helper. And what about Maya during all this courting? Maya and I will keep building our relationship too. I want to be at every school event, every bedtime story, every scraped knee and celebration. But I also want her to see that her mama is special and deserves to be loved and cherished. Sophia felt her heart flutter. When was the last time someone had wanted to cherish her? That sounds wonderful, but what about the practical stuff? You can't keep staying in this tiny apartment, and I can't afford anything bigger. Actually, I have an idea about that. Nicholas pulled out his phone and showed her some photos. There's a house about 10 minutes from here. It's got a big backyard for Maya and that dog she wants, but it's in the same neighborhood so she wouldn't have to change schools. Sophia looked at the pictures of a beautiful 2-story house with a wraparound porch and a garden that would be perfect for Maya to play in. Nicholas, I can't afford a house like that. You don't have to afford it. I already bought it. You what? I bought it 3 months ago, right after we became a family. I've been having it renovated to be perfect for us. Maya's room has built-in bookshelves and a reading nook, and there's a craft room where you two can do projects together. Sophia stared at him. You bought us a house without asking me? I bought us a house because I was planning to ask you to marry me, and I wanted Maya to have the kind of childhood home she deserves. With or without me in the picture, it's yours. Nicholas. Before you get mad, just think about it. Maya could have her own room, her own bathroom, a place to run around outside. You could have a garden, a proper kitchen, space to breathe. What if things don't work out between us? Then it's still your house. The deed is already in your name. Sophia felt overwhelmed by the gesture. I don't know what to say. Say you'll at least look at it. Say you'll let me show you what I've been dreaming about for our family. The next day, Nicholas picked them up after Maya's school and drove to a quiet neighborhood filled with tree-lined streets and houses with character. When he pulled into the driveway of a cream-colored house with blue shutters and a garden full of flowers, Maya gasped with delight. It's like a princess house, she exclaimed. Do you want to see inside? Nicholas asked, pulling out a set of keys. The house was even more beautiful inside than in the photos. It was clearly expensive but felt warm and welcoming rather than intimidating. Maya's room was painted in her favorite purple with white furniture and exactly the kind of reading nook she had always dreamed of having. And this, Nicholas said, leading them to a sunny room at the back of the house, is for all of your art projects and Maya's homework. The craft room had built-in storage, a large table for projects, and windows that overlooked the backyard where Maya was already planning where to put a swing set. There's something else, Nicholas said, leading Sophia to the master bedroom. I wanted to show you this. The room was beautiful, with large windows and a sitting area, but what made Sophia's breath catch was the photo on the nightstand. It was the picture from Maya's daddy-daughter dance, showing Nicholas and Maya dancing together while Sophia watched from the sidelines with love and pride written all over her face. You kept that. It's my favorite picture of our family, Nicholas said simply. It was the night I knew for certain that I wanted to spend the rest of my life making both of you smile like that. Sophia picked up the photo, remembering how happy Maya had been that night, how proud she had felt watching Nicholas be so gentle and patient with her daughter. The house is perfect, she said finally. But Nicholas, I need you to understand something. If we do this, if we really become a family, it can't be about you taking care of poor little us. It has to be about us being partners, building something together. How do we do that when there's such a huge difference in our resources? Sophia thought about it for a moment. I keep working. Maybe not at the diner forever, but I keep contributing. Maya and I don't just become your dependents. What if you went back to school? You told me once that you wanted to be a teacher before Maya came along. I can't afford college. What if we figured out a way to make it work? Night classes, online programs, whatever would fit with Maya's schedule? The idea of finishing her education, of having a career instead of just a job, was something Sophia had given up dreaming about years ago. You would really support that? I would support anything that makes you happy and helps you feel like an equal partner in this relationship. From downstairs, they heard Maya calling for them to come see something in the backyard. They found her standing by a large oak tree, pointing excitedly at something carved into the bark. Look, someone wrote "E love Zen" in the tree. That's me and Daddy. Nicholas and Sophia exchanged amused looks. Actually, sweetheart, I think someone named Maya loved someone named Nathan, or maybe Ellen loved Nick. No, Maya said with absolute certainty. It's me and Daddy. The tree knows we belong here. As they walked back toward the house, Maya running ahead to explore more of the yard, Nicholas took Sophia's hand. So what do you think? Can you see us being happy here? Sophia looked at the house that Nicholas had chosen for them, at Maya playing in the garden, at the man who had somehow managed to love them exactly the way they needed to be loved. I think, she said slowly, that Maya might be right about the tree knowing where we belong. 6 months later, Sophia stood in front of the mirror in the master bedroom of their new house, adjusting the simple white dress she had chosen for their wedding. It wasn't a fancy gown they had decided on a small ceremony in their backyard with just close friends and family, but it was perfect for the life they were building together. Mama, you look beautiful. Maya bounced into the room wearing her flower girl dress, a purple creation that made her look like the princess she had always believed herself to be. Thank you, baby. Are you ready to be my maid of honor? I'm ready to watch you and Daddy get married so he can be my real daddy forever. Maya had been talking about the wedding for weeks, more excited than anyone else about the official ceremony that would make their family legal. There was a soft knock on the door and Keisha peeked her head in. It's time, girl. Nicholas is down there looking like he's about to pass out from happiness. Sophia took one last look in the mirror, then took Maya's hand. Okay, let's go make this official. Their backyard had been transformed into a fairy tale setting with white chairs arranged in rows facing the oak tree where Maya had found the carved initials. String lights hung from the branches, and flowers from Sophia's garden decorated every surface. It was simple and beautiful and exactly what they had wanted. Nicholas stood under the tree wearing a navy suit with a purple flower in his lapel to match Maya's dress. When he saw Sophia walking toward him with Maya skipping beside her, his face lit up with such pure joy that several people in the small audience started crying before the ceremony even began. Hi, he said softly when she reached him. Hi yourself, she replied, unable to stop smiling. The ceremony was short and sweet, with vows they had written themselves that focused on their commitment to each other and to Maya. When the officiant asked if anyone objected to the union, Maya loudly announced, I object to waiting any longer. Can they kiss now? Everyone laughed and the officiant smiled. By the power vested in me by the state, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Nicholas cupped Sophia's face in his hands and kissed her while their family and friends cheered. When they broke apart, Maya threw herself at both of them, demanding a group hug that nearly knocked them all over. We're a real family now, she declared, and everyone laughed again. The reception was held right there in the backyard, with a buffet dinner and dancing on the patio. Nicholas and Sophia had their first dance to a song they had chosen together, swaying slowly while Maya tried to dance between them. How does it feel to be Mrs. Stevens? Nicholas asked as they danced. It feels like coming home, Sophia replied honestly. How does it feel to be Maya's official daddy? Like the luckiest man in the world. Later, after their guests had gone home and Maya had finally been convinced to go to bed despite her excitement, Sophia and Nicholas sat on their back porch swing, still wearing their wedding clothes and watching fireflies dance in the garden. I have something for you, Nicholas said, pulling out a small wrapped box. Nicholas, the wedding was enough. You don't need to give me anything else. This isn't from me, he said with a mysterious smile. It's from Maya. Confused, Sophia unwrapped the box to find a simple silver necklace with a heart-shaped pendant that had been engraved with Best Mama Ever on one side and Maya plus Mama plus Daddy equals family on the other. She saved up her allowance for 3 months to buy it, Nicholas explained. She wanted you to have something special for your wedding day. Sophia felt tears well up in her eyes as she traced the engraving with her finger. Help me put it on? As Nicholas fastened the necklace around her neck, Sophia thought about how much their lives had changed since that embarrassing day in the grocery store parking lot. She had been so afraid of letting anyone get too close, so convinced that good things didn't last for people like her. What are you thinking about? Nicholas asked, settling back beside her on the swing. Just, everything. How we got here, how different everything is now. Do you miss anything about the way things were before? Sophia considered the question seriously. I miss the independence sometimes, the feeling like I could handle anything on my own. But I don't miss being lonely. I don't miss feeling like Maya and I were facing the world by ourselves. You never have to face anything alone again, Nicholas promised. Whatever comes next, we handle it together. Speaking of what comes next. Sophia turned to face him with a smile. I got accepted to the education program at the community college. I start classes in the fall. Nicholas's face lit up. Sophia, that's wonderful. Why didn't you tell me you had applied? I wanted to make sure I could get in on my own merit before I told anyone. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to become a teacher. Maya is going to be so proud when she finds out her mama is going to be a teacher. What about you? Are you proud? Nicholas pulled her closer and kissed her forehead. I've been proud of you since the day I met you. You're the strongest, most loving person I know, and our children are going to be so lucky to have you as their mother. Our children? Sophia raised an eyebrow. Plural? Well, Maya has been asking for a baby brother or sister pretty much daily since we moved into the house. I just assumed. You assumed correctly, Sophia said with a grin. I'd love to have more children with you. Maya would be an amazing big sister. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, swinging gently and listening to the sounds of their neighborhood settling in for the night. It was peaceful and perfect and everything Sophia had never dared to dream about during those years when she was struggling to make ends meet as a single mother. Nicholas? Oh, thank you. For what? For seeing something special in a frazzled single mom and her dramatic daughter in a grocery store parking lot. For being patient with my fears and my stubbornness. For loving us exactly the way we are. Thank you for giving a broken widower a reason to believe in love again, Nicholas replied. Thank you for letting me be Maya's daddy and your husband and part of this beautiful family. As they sat there on their wedding night, surrounded by the home they had built together and the love they had created, Sophia realized that fairy tales didn't always look the way she had expected them to. Sometimes they started with embarrassing moments and fear and mistakes and misunderstandings. But sometimes, if you were very lucky and very brave, they ended with exactly the life you had always dreamed of having. I love you, Mrs. Stevens, Nicholas said softly. I love you too, Mr. Stevens. Forever and always. And as the fireflies danced around them and their daughter slept peacefully in her princess room, they began their happily ever after together.